Kamal Bryant knows that, but they're going to take you to empty federal buildings. But if they had one secret agent inside that building, they can come back and round you up along with the rest of them, and your family will never hear a word from you because Sharpton took you to an empty federal building, but nobody ever stopped to ask why he would take you on a Saturday to an empty federal building when, again, you could stop commerce if they're serious Monday through Friday. But let me open up the lines, take your thoughts, questions, comments before I get back into this in terms of connecting the dots, revealing some plots, naming some names that you can go and look up for yourself and ask regarding George Zimmerman's relationship with Digital Risk LLC, which is a mortgage underwriting and mortgage security company which received the top award from the President of the United States last year as the top business in the country, 2012. Look it up if you don't believe me. Digital Risk LLC. President is Peter Kasapov, and he's also on the White House Business Council. Now, if I know that, you don't think these corporate controlled news media outlets know that? If I know about the relationship between Morgan & Morgan Law Firm in Orlando, Florida, and Mr. Crump, one of the attorneys for the Martin family, you mean the media doesn't know that? Come on, y'all. You may be being played now. But let me come to the line. Take your thoughts, questions, comments, 410-761-1592. And we'll follow the money trail, as the old saying goes. You remember the movie with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan? He say follow the, I think it was Rush Hour 3. Follow the white man with the money. When things start happening and the white man is too cool, follow that white man with the money. And George Zimmerman seems to be too damn cool. Even Trayvon Martin fell over. Too cool. He ain't had a James Evans moment, a Red Fox moment, no kind of moment. Too cool. And now he's on tour. Mr. Tracy Martin goes to Washington. You mean he couldn't take other black fathers that's lost sons or other fathers that's lost sons, the racial profiling? He's the only one now that seems to be seen to be the spokesperson in Washington, D.C. Got to stop and ask some questions, y'all. But again, let me come to the line. Take your thoughts, questions, comments. If you want to talk about these local stories I touched on in the first hour with the arrest of these young brothers for the beating of a employee at the Little Italy Cafe. And, of course, why they still continue to charge black youth as adults when they're lenient toward others, but not toward our youth. So let me come to the line. Take your thoughts, questions, comments, or if you want to comment on Harry Belafonte taking a stand with the young people there in Tallahassee, Florida, occupying the Florida State House. And, one other thing I forgot to mention. The former governor in Florida came out of the law firm of Morgan & Morgan. And I think he went back to the law firm of Morgan & Morgan, which is Chris. So you can look it up for yourself. Morgan & Morgan Law Firm. And you know how to spell Morgan. Morgan. Don't be lazy. But just look it up for yourself. And you'll begin to follow the money, as they say, man. And follow some of these interlocking connections. And then we'll look at the Trayvon Martin Foundation, which has been set up pretty quickly. And that's part of the Miami Foundation. And we'll come back and look at who's on the board. Name some names. And some of them names may sound familiar to some of you that are around here, again, on these tours in this country and even international tours, but never really addressing the real issues that we as a people are facing and our young people are facing inside of this country to get national laws changed and state laws changed and local laws to protect our children using the ingredients of legislation, litigation, mobilization, communication, education, and confrontation. And then, of course, we calling for withdrawal with the economic boycott. So we clearly want liquidation of these corporations and these multinational corporations until we have justice. With that, let me come to the line. Thank you for your patience. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the State of the City.
Good afternoon.
How you doing, my sister?
I'm doing fine. And I hope you are doing well as well also.
Yes.
First off, let me start what's here in the States that's happened. And as you know, for those that are interested in what's happening with the death of Malcolm Shabazz.
Yes.
Last Saturday, there was an event in Landover that I had mentioned of that they were doing as a rally and a speaking with Dr. Randy Short,
right.
Where there were, some go-go bands. And, we have to understand that is the music of choice of the young people that were there. Mm-hmm. Now, they attend the Mayat Academy that's in Landover, off of Landover Road.
Right.
And we had a chance to sit down with the adult person that's in charge of it, Sister I sat down. And she told us about the fact that First off, the outreach for the event was done with the youth. And as we know, a lot of the youth, what do they use? They use Twitter to send out messages and that, which they communicated to other youth. They had a list that was over 500 people that they could do. She received a visit from Homeland Security questioning that.
Yes.
Of that, and this was the simple flyer that had a picture of Malcolm Shabazz and Trayvon Martin, where they wanted to do a event unifying the cause. As we know that as last week, everybody was taken to the streets.
That's right.
And protesting about with the outcome of the trial. So that was the choice that they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So she received questions about that, and as I just said, this was not no type of pornography or anything at all that, but questioning on that.
Right.
Then also she received harassment from Prince George's County Police. Multiple visits that they did, which continued until yesterday evening.
Yes, ma'am.
Where they were telling her not to have the event.
Right.
Still questioning, the flyer, the event itself, and everything.
Right.
And while we were there, when I finally made it there, the PG County Police were making their presence out there, in the parking lot of the shopping center where the Mayat Academy is at.
Mm-hmm.
She let us know that she has, continued to see this type of harassment. And she let us know that the kids there, that of the Mayat Academy that go there,
right,
where they have lessons that are during the week. So, their choice of having the music event, because she says, before you get the music and all that going on, you have to get some education, know what's going and everything.
Okay.
So part of the event was just music, but also to have the talk with Dr. Randy Short, speaking of what was going on with the Malcolm investigation and why we needed to be involved, having that as a concern.
All right, got to begin to wrap up. Just due to time, I got to get some other callers in, sister.
Okay. Well, let me. You can see on the Facebook listeners what I have posted since last week. There's something very, very critically important that I do need to say here.
Okay, where can people call to get more information on that? Is there a website that you want to share with us?
The Malcolm Shabazz tribute page, and then also I've posted on your Facebook. Okay. Listeners, please call the Amsterdam News, the associate editor there, Nayamba Arende,
right?
Because there have been two people that have confirmed that the death of Malcolm Shabazz was communicated 12 o'clock our time on the East Coast, which makes it 9 o'clock on the West Coast by J.R. Valray.
Right.
So we're asking that, one, they retract their story of saying, where they have initially put out saying it was in Tijuana, and two, do a whole entire story of giving everything up to date what has currently happened. Now, that is very important for everybody, and you can quote me on that. There are two sources that confirm that it was J.R. Valray that reported the death of Malcolm Shabazz, which was before the embassy.
Okay.
The embassies had the information.
All right. Thank you, my sister. Give thanks now.
Give thanks.
All right, peace. You're welcome. And with that, let me get some more of these calls in. 410-761-1592. Always a wealth of information, keeping us updated on the death of Malcolm's grandson, Malcolm Shabazz. So I thank, of course, our sister and those that have been working with her, and those in Mexico, our brothers and sisters, Afro-Mexicans that are working to get justice for our brother and his family as well. With that, let me come back to the lines. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the State of the City.
Yes, good afternoon. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, my sister. How are you?
I'm blessed.
Good.
I've been missing you. I've been having a hard time getting you in
yes, ma'am.
On the radio.
Right.
But
well, you got your phone. You can pull us in on the phone, depending on the kind of phone you have now.
Okay.
All right. And if you got one of them raggedy computers, you can pull us in on them raggedy computers too. Okay.
Right. It's like I'm in the other part of Baltimore County, and it just won't come in. I guess because
use
of
that computer. You got a computer, right?
And stuff. I'm not by a computer. I'm working in summer school.
Okay.
So they have the thing locked down. The computers stay locked down.
Right.
But nevertheless, I called just to say thank you for your information. You've been telling us for years about when we give up our guns, and I want people to understand.
Yes.
they're not asking white folks, because white folks are still getting guns. We're the ones that are turning our guns in.
I heard a minister, and then they do have these ministers working with the Department of Homeland Security. Now, you heard me mention that Obama and the Department of Justice sent so-called peacemakers to Florida right after Trayvon Martin was killed. Now, if they could send peacemakers to Florida, which are agents from the Department of Justice, why couldn't he send Eric Holder down there right after he was killed, right?
That's true.
So, but they're working with ministers and perhaps I'm sure some imams as well to be a part of this FBI faith-based initiative money, in which they're even telling black mothers now, don't even give your sons toy guns to play with. Now, this is only directed towards the black community. So it's, again, the effeminization of our children, even as boys. But if we take the page out of Dr. King's book, Dr. King and the Bible talks about every man shall beat their plows and spears, or their spears and plowshares into pruning hooks, right?
Yes.
So all violence we have to condemn, but these same ministers won't condemn President Obama for being the drone ranger and doing them flybys. So if they're going to condemn drive-bys, let's condemn some flybys, regardless of who the president is what I'm saying. But please continue, my sister.
And, it's like, they telling us one thing, but then you see the other people, ethnic groups, they are steady buying up guns and stuff to protect themselves.
That's right.
And someone said, I don't know how true it is, but someone said the other day that we have a part of Stand Your Ground in Maryland. So what part of Maryland does it? Because it's not in Baltimore City. I can tell you right now.
Yes, ma'am.
About Stand Your Ground. But, I called to ask you, have you heard an article about the mayor of that city where Trayvon got killed at and the governor's asking people not to boycott?
Well, yeah, many of them are asking people not to boycott. So that's how you know the boycott can be effective, because even just the spreading of the boycott is spreading like wildfire, so much so that the elected officials there have to respond. And then they'll go even get black lawyers who are there having their National Bar Association convention there. The NAACP just had their convention there, and they say that NAACP is so weak down there. They said they're in a little strip mall, and they really haven't been active in the community. But again, long as these corporations are giving money to Ben Jealous and then Al Sharpton, which used to be the Black Action Network, now it's the National Action Network, because he got Bernstein, Goldstein, and some other Steins that's on his board. So they're controlling Al Sharpton so much so that you can't tell where their businesses begin and where Al Sharpton National Organization ends right now. And that's the sad part. But all of this talk of boycott is frightening them, because they know that we can have an impact on tourism in Florida right now.
And that's what I was going to compare that with Dr. King, and I'm going to let you go because I know you have other calls. Yes. But Dr. King, he never, when he did his demonstrations and boycotts, he never went empty-handed. Right. Harry Belafonte, his apartment in New York, and King went and they raised money.
That's right.
Less than 3 days.
Right. And
he had money to contain the lawyers, the bail bondmen, the people that he put in place, not nobody that that Florida gave him, or Alabama. He handpicked the bail bondmen and the lawyers.
That's right.
And that's what we have to do. Right. And that's what that retreat was about last week.
Yes.
Start doing our economics, because it's about economics. And I agree with you. We need to protest the police department and City Hall about those cameras.
That's right.
About those cameras, because a couple of years ago, it's been about 7 years ago, that little boy, he went down and opened the door, and they shot him in the foot. And when Jay Miller went, and the camera's right there, so she asked the police department, why couldn't you see the suspect? Because the camera was right in front of his house.
Yes.
And they were saying that all the cameras don't work. They blank cameras, but we paying for those cameras.
We paying for them.
So we need to be actionary, not reaction, and tell them if every camera don't work, then you need to make our cameras work just like you have in
other them downtown. That's right. Thank you very much,
You're
sister.
welcome.
Appreciate it. Love you now. Peace. And with that, we'll take more of your calls, 410-761-1592. And I'm going to try to go to this Trayvon Martin clip shortly, but let me take some more of these calls before I get into that. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the State of the City. Got to turn your radio down. Try you one more time now. Can't listen to me and yourself at the same time. Come on now.
Okay, I'll say this quickly. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Going back to something you said earlier in your program about be happening to these cities, other cities besides Detroit.
Yep, Detroit.
This was a little clip in the paper.
Mm-hmm.
It said, the man said, 30 years ago.
Right.
Hold on here.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm back.
Come on, sister. Yes.
That Baltimore and Detroit were both facing trouble.
Right.
And both are old industrial port cities.
Right. That's right.
With declining manufacturing bases.
Yes.
unlike Detroit, Baltimore has the economic draw at the time in the Northeast that keeps young professionals moving to this area.
Yes.
Young, that is.
Right.
Now,
yeah.
That's the future of the corridor from Boston